the universal will officially arrives, and with it, the advent of the trial finally descends on the world. However, 5 hours before the trial begun, at a known location named Mankai Container Yard, Xingmeng and Bai were engaged in a furious fight to determine who will rule over the entire Jiangxing city. At this moment, the immediate clash of the two heavy fists sent Xingmeng flying. Fortunately for him, he managed to stop himself, making a sturdy landing. Then Xingmeng dashed towards Bai in an instant, and with his claws, he aims for Bai's neck. Bai quickly switched to his bone claw and blocks the attack, then counters with his heavy hammer with his other hand, preparing to land another blow. But unexpectedly, Xingmeng just effortlessly blocks it with his hand, which made him quite smug. "Is this your SSS class talent? That's all? Are you even trying? You weakling!" Hearing this, Bai just laughed. "My talent has been at work for a while now. You're just too dumb to notice." Unaware of the true situation, Xingmeng thought Bai was just bluffing. In the next second, he instantly appeared in front of Bai and sent him flying. "Clearly, all your attributes are weaker than mine. Stop pretending. In the face of absolute power, you're just a..." Before Xingmeng could finish his sentence, he started spewing blood non-stop the next moment after. At the same time, the system kept popping up with various virus infection notifications, including the most severe like HIV. Seeing the baffled look on Xingmeng's face, I couldn't help but remark, "This guy's constitution is really good. It really took so long for the virus to take effect. How does it feel to suffer so many diseases at once?" Xingmeng's defenses broke instantly, but he still charged at Bai in his current state. In this situation, how could he be a match for Bai? So with a single strike, Bai pierced through his body, and at the same time, his devouring skill was activated. "I hope your talent won't disappoint me." Sure enough, the system not only notified that the black light virus had completed its initial awakening, but also gained the ability to access some memories of the devoured targets, and a chance to acquire any skills they had mastered. This left Bai very satisfied. Bai then picked up the equipment dropped by Xingmeng to identify it, and it was clear he had killed more than just one mutated zombie, as he even had a C-grade crafting blueprint. This meant his luck attribute was quite high, but now all these are Bai's. After handling the matter, Bai recalled his experiences from the day he returned to the past until now. It has been a rewarding journey, and Bai even successfully subdued the once high and mighty queen of Jiangxing. "Boss, please get in the car. In these last few days, we need to properly plan and prepare for the developments after the descent." Back at the villa, Bai confirmed that all the tasks he had assigned to Song Ziqiong and the others were completed. Luli had collected a population data from the area around the villa, so they could start cleaning up as soon as the apocalypse begins. Su Xin had also finished purchasing all the supplies necessary. Bai finally announced that the timing of the apocalypse has arrived. In the Pioneers chat group, the Pioneers promptly received Bai's message. "There's only 10 minutes until the trials descend, so don't be complacent about your early advantages and rare talents." Bai then urged them to stay calm as the trials bring dangers they couldn't even imagine. The reason was he didn't want anyone from the group to disappear in 10 minutes after. Some were impatient, some were nervous, and others were excited as time ticked by. But one thing common was that they were all grateful for Bai's help and guidance. They began to share their thoughts as time continued to tick away. Bai hurriedly asked Song Ziqiong and the others to come to the window to see, because soon, this peaceful and tranquil scene would disappear completely. A 10-second countdown began, and Song Gu began to shiver in fear beside Chinger. Chinger calms her down, reminding her not to be afraid, while Song Ziqiong and Su Xin appeared confident. 3 seconds left. 2, 1. Time's up. The familiar sensation hit everyone again, and the apocalypse trial officially began. The surviving humans became evolvers, and most of the rest were either killed by other species that appeared during the trial or eventually turned into zombies. At the same time, spatial rifts began to appear in the skies, and at this moment, Bai quietly watched everything unfolds outside through the window. Suddenly, the system's voice sounded, "Time hourglass ownership confirmed. Beginning binding." Not good. Song Ziqiong and the others were still there, and Bai couldn't let anyone know about the hourglass. But just as he was about to speak, he was surprised to find that time seemed to have stopped for everyone but him. Even the crashing airplane also froze in midair, and then the hourglass began to glow. A purple light instantly surged into Bai's body. The time hourglass binding was successful, and its panel also displayed. Unexpectedly, Bai had also gained a life-saving skill, allowing him to save his state and load from that saved-up state. With such a powerful life-saving skill, a cooldown of an hour couldn't even be considered a downside. As the time stop ended, Song Ziqiong came to Bai's side and asked, "Did you just give any instructions, or did I hear wrong?" Bai told her she hadn't heard wrong, and immediately instructed them to ensure the villa's security. The nights after the trial's arrival are very dangerous, and we need to be vigilant at all times. As soon as daylight breaks, everyone need to start clearing the villa area. By the next morning, as expected, zombies had already surrounded the villa. Seeing this, Song Zicheong immediately activated her S-class talent, Amethyst Eyes, and used the ability Insight Crystal, which can view the target's attribute panel and weaknesses. She resolved the zombie situation in an instant. Meanwhile, Chinger's talent was the A-class Path of the Assassin. Already strong, her talent made her seem like a possessed god of death, making her clear dozens of zombies in mere moments. On the other side, the wounded people were brought before Su Zin. Su Zin, she awakened the B-class talent, High-Speed Recovery. She was responsible for treating injured survivors inside the villa, and so far, everything looked good with no accidents occurring. I felt quite relieved. He then left the situation at the villa to everyone, and used the memories of his previous life to quickly head towards Jiangcheng University. At this time in his previous life, a strange symbol had appeared over Jiangcheng University, and it took him a long time to understand the meaning of that symbol. By the time he did, he regretted it. It was too late, so this time, Bai intends on seizing the opportunity. He quickly arrived at Jiangcheng University, and from the looks of it, it seems that where he had arrived was the place where the symbol had projected a certain deity's descending. Without hesitation, Bai eagerly searched forward. Suddenly, someone called out to him, "Hey young evolver, please wait. It's rare to see such a powerful little fellow like you at the beginning of this ordeal. I'm a merchant. Are you interested in doing some trades with me?" Upon hearing this, Bai was overjoyed. This was exactly what he had been hoping for. "It would be my greatest honor to conduct a transaction with you. A kind and fair, generous, wealthy, and powerful person such as yourself. I humbly greet the Lord of Trading, Lord Leto." It seems Lord Leto came in his real form in the past as well. Hearing this, Lord Leto was flattered, so as he gave Bai a card, he made mention that Bai was destined to meet him. Consider this as a meeting gift. It was his gold membership card to the Goblin Chamber of Commerce. To purchase items from the Goblin Chamber of Commerce with this card, you will receive a 12% discount on every item. Upon seeing this, Bai wondered. In his last life when he had met Lord Leto, he was immune to compliments and praise, so it was good he was quick on the uptake. Bai took the card, expressing his gratitude, and acknowledging Lord Leto's generosity. Lord Leto noticed that Bai was willing to trade. If so, then he was going to show him the products available. A Thunderwalker scroll of S grade and a Reaper's Touch, also an S- grade. Seeing all the precious items, Bai was stunned. Also, seeing the Thunderwalker profession scroll from his previous life indicated that it was purchased from Lord Leto. There were also so many other precious profession scrolls and items. Bai apologized to Lord Leto, explaining that he wanted to buy all the things he would offer, but unfortunately, he couldn't afford them right now. Understandingly, Lord Leto replied that he knew. At the beginning of the trials, evolvers wouldn't have much currency on hand, so Lord Leto reassured Bai that his products weren't junk. If Bai works hard to become wealthy, his anticipation upon meeting him again in the future for trading is guaranteed. Bai pondered for a while, then stated that although he couldn't afford to buy his products, he had heard that the gods couldn't participate directly in the trials. However, they can invest in evolved beings to make a profit. Lord Leto, I believed you must have come here with the intention of investing, right? Hearing this, Lord Leto was impressed. Bai's insight and knowledge was better than average. You want my investment, don't you? Yes. Yes, I do, Lord Leto. But I also heard you possessed a treasure that's highly regarded by all the gods and no evolver could refuse it. I ask you to invest that treasure in me, and I promise you that you won't regret it. Indeed, I do have such treasure, but such investment must be profitable, and this treasure was something that all the gods would covet. What makes you think that you could offer more than it's worth? Even if you're my admirer, doing a business that would lead to a loss isn't in me. Hearing this made Bai transform, showcasing his bone claw and heavy hammer skill. Bai activated his full power, demonstrating what his SSS-level talent was capable of. Seeing this, Lord Leto was fascinated. This is indeed a peculiar talent unlike any I had ever seen. It seems Blue Star trial will be quite interesting. Okay. I will admit that your offer is tempting, but I never had any plans on investing this much early in the trial. However, I have decided to make an exception and give you a chance. Cherish this opportunity, kid. If it weren't for the fact that you don't have the aura of another god and gifted, I wouldn't have agreed. Hearing this, Bai was delighted, so he promptly asked Lord Leto if he could have the precious investment. No, not quite. A demonstration is not enough. Your talent doesn't necessarily represent your future. Even among the gods, there were those with less than an A-level talent. So to receive my highest level of investment, you need to prove your worth through your own strength and growth. Suddenly, the system's voice sounded. The god of goblins and trading Leto had issued an SSS-ranked mission named the Ultimate Investment. Do you accept? Without hesitation, Bai directly accepted the mission request. Leto gave a coin to Bai, explaining that whenever he completes the task, he could use the coin to summon his shadow. I hope you won't keep me waiting for too long. Hearing this made Bai ask Lord Leto if he could show him the desired treasure that even all the gods would covet. Seeing no problem with the request, Leto revealed a golden scroll dazzling with golden light. The treasure was named the Dual Procession Scroll, an SSS grade special item. The Dual Profession Scroll allows the user to have two professions simultaneously, enabling dual profession attribute, growth attribute, bonuses, and skills to take effect. Upon seeing this, Bai was stunned, wondering if it was really a dual profession. Could my eyes be deceiving me? Bai's daydreaming was cut short as Leto informed him that the transaction had concluded. It was time for him to go, but before leaving, Leto remarked that his harvest of the day was quite pleasant and he hopes that Bai could complete the task. Immediately after his departure, Bai opened his mission panel. On it was the description, stating that to obtain the most valuable investment from the smartest and greatest goblin, the god of trade, Bai needed to provide enough proof of his worth. His objective was to find a special copy of the secret realm in Jiangcheng University, defeat the creature inside that Leto was interested in, and obtain a part of its body to give to him. The reward would be decided by Leto upon completion. Bai was impressed reading this. A reward decided by only Leto. He's truly a god of trade, he said. Bai also knew that Lord Leto's reputation in the previous life was good and legit. This meant if he did a good job, he wouldn't suffer any loss afterwards. Now, his biggest problem was to find the secret realm in Jiangcheng University. In Bai's previous life, he had never heard of a secret realm in the early days in Jiangcheng University, which only signifies that it was well hidden. He began to ponder where he should start looking first. The scene then shifts to the gymnasium of Jiangcheng University, where two guys and a girl were bullying the rest trapped in the gymnasium with them. Their leader, Tom, demanded the other students to take off their clothes and beg to be his servants in a manner that pleased him. He threatens to harm them if they didn't comply. Furious, they refuse, calling Tom a piggy bastard. Hearing this, Tom got excited and continues with his threats. If you all are willing to die, then I will fulfill your wish. But don't think for a second that I will let you die easily. The girl in his group, Mia, tried to convince Tom that he was going too far. But what she received in return was a slap across the face as Tom tells her to fuck off. Suddenly, a massive commotion occurred at the entrance, removing the debris in the process. Everyone was startled seeing this. At the entrance was Bai, asking Tom if he was responsible for beating the rest of the students. Hearing this, Tom smiled, proudly admitting he was indeed the one. What are you going to do about it? However, in the next second, Bai was upon him in an instant, shocking him and his minion and also Mia. With his bone claw, Bai tells Tom to go meet the King of Hell, slicing through him without any resistance. And like an idiot, his minion dashes towards Bai from behind. Mia was scared shitless, her expression highlighting how fucked up she was. As Bai holds the minion's lifeless figure by the head, he proceeds to ask if anyone among them was from the medical faculty. He was looking for something and needed assistance from someone familiar with the medical faculty. The students immediately began to ask themselves which person among them was from the medical department. It seems that there were no medical students in sight, but suddenly one of the girls, Jia, pointed at Mia. So as Mia laid on the floor in panic, Jia continues that she remembers Mia was from the medical department. Upon hearing this, Bai turned to Mia, who was still on the floor. Mia immediately started pleading, begging Bai not to kill her. She didn't hit anyone, and although she may be white, she believes in her heart that she's one of them. Upon hearing this, the guys behind her laugh hysterically, while Jia turned her head away in embarrassment at Mia's audacity. Mia continued that if Bai was to spare her life, she'll do anything in return. Jia reiterated that Mia didn't participate in any wrongdoing, and had even tried to stop the two guys. Bai replied that he understands. The very next day, outside the university's gymnasium, Bai informs everyone that Mia will stay with him, but everyone must leave. When they leave, they should follow the trail of zombie corpses to the Jiang City East Mountain Villa area. Upon arrival, report with the name Chen Bai, and the people there will help you settle. Hearing this, everyone became tense, expressing their concern that the city was full of zombies, so how could they possibly leave? Additionally, the Jiang City East Mountain Villa was far from the university. They feared they could die on the way there. Bai reassured them that he had cleared almost all the zombies along the way, so they didn't need to worry as much as they wouldn't be in constant danger. He points out that they were all survivors, which means they were gifted evolvers as well. If they are too scared to face the zombies now, what would they do when the zombies and monsters start growing in numbers and evolve as well? If they don't start now, one thing is certain: they would be as good as dead in the near future. Upon hearing this, everyone was stunned, their expression highlighting the gruesome reality that awaits them if they refuse to level up their abilities. Jia was the first to speak up, thanking Bai and promising to set off with everyone immediately as soon as they can. As everyone leave, Mia asked Bai why she couldn't leave with them. "Why would you keep me here?" Then, a salacious thought sprouted in Mia's mind, making her blush profusely. She concluded that since all the native students in Jiangcheng University happens to like foreign beauties, Bai wasn't any exception. Why else would Bai keep her by his side? Mia proceeds to tell Bai not to use violence against her. She was willing to be his wildest horse. Hearing this, Bai smiled and told her she misunderstood him. He wasn't interested in a horse ridden by thousands. "Did you forget? I remember mentioning that I needed someone to help me find something in the medical department." Hearing this, Mia felt embarrassed and apologized, admitting that she was so scared before that she hadn't heard anything. And as she got over her brief embarrassment, Mia furiously shouted, telling Bai to not insult her like that. She hadn't been ridden by anyone, let alone thousands of people, and she can prove it. Hearing this made Bai reply that he got it. However, he couldn't help but smile at how quickly she got riled up. A while later, they left the university's gymnasium. Mai was visibly tired, so she started to complain, saying she was very tired from walking so much. "Can they take a break and rest for a bit?" "Of course not. I'm in a hurry, so we have to go now." And with those words, Bai held Mia's waist, pulling her along for the run as she whines about her shirt. A few minutes later, they reached the medical department research building, where Mia was a little frustrated, accusing Bai of being too pushy. She explains that if her foot hadn't caught her shirt at that last second, it would have been troublesome to be dressed in only her undergarment. Looking at the building, Bai asked Mia if this was really the research lab. "Yes, it is. There is a research room on the 3rd floor that only professors could enter. It is said to contain many samples and information about bacteria and viruses. Also, the passageway that leads to the underground basement isn't a garage, but the home of the anatomy teacher and the incinerator. So if there was anything hidden in the medical department that no one knows about, this was the only place she can think of." Hearing Mia's explanation, Bai nodded in understanding. The two then proceed to the virus research laboratory of the university, where there were numerous types of viruses. Seeing this, Bai was impressed and delighted. He remarked that he didn't expect the university to have such a treasure trove. Bai didn't need any invitation as he began to absorb all the viruses he could find. And along with his virus absorption came with several notifications, further elevating his power. However, during the process, the system notified him that he had gained enough influenza virus. The number of points needed to upgrade the influenza virus to a skill has been met, but doing so will reduce his points once again. With a surprised smile, Bai chose to upgrade. The upgrade was successful as he obtained the skill Epidemic Influenza. This skill releases a flu virus that infects a target within its range, reducing all of the target's attributes and adding a negative condition. Additionally, it has a feature called sneezing, which interrupts all chanting, accumulation, charging, and aiming when triggered. A wide smile crept on Bai's lips as he reads the notification. This is indeed a strong skill, capable of causing interruptions and offer a powerful control, especially with the addition of the sneeze effect. It was in that moment that Bai realized that when he was going through the virus tree, he hadn't paid enough attention to the reality of the viruses. It seems that he needed to pay more attention to this aspect when upgrading in the future. Knowing this, Bai also finally realized how terrifying an SSS-level talent really is. He still had some virus points left, and considering that the trial of the Goblin God will definitely not be simple, he decided to use them to increase his strength first. Bai then proceeds to open the Blacklight virus skill tree. He unlocked 2 passive skills, the first being the Flying Eaves and Walking Walls. With this skill, he could cling to any surface, and with the Blacklight virus greatly aiding in enhancing his balance and sense of direction. The second was Combat Focus, which focus on mind concentration. It greatly enhances dynamic vision and reflexes, doubling the ability to control all muscles in the body. He then moves towards a nearby wall, and as he stretched his fisted hand, Bai slowly aim at hitting it. However, the wall shuddered upon impact. This scene shocked Mia greatly. She wondered how it was possible for Bai to shudder an entire wall with just a touch of a fist. Luckily, he didn't use it on me, otherwise I'll be dead by now, she thought. On the other hand, Bai was delighted in his new strength. He thought that if he could control all his muscles, not to mention exerting force between their sizes, then, even within a hair's breadth, he could throw a full force punch. As he turned around, Bai noticed that Mia was blushing profusely. But when he asked, Mia replied that it was nothing. Hearing this, Bai told Mia to lead the way to the anatomy teacher's place because he was done with the research laboratory. Soon, they were in the corridor of the Virus Research Institute basement, and up ahead of them was the entrance to the incineration room. However, due to the lack of electricity in the basement, the corridor was dark. This scared Mia greatly, so as she complained about it to Bai, Bai simply told her to stop walking. They've reached their destination. He could feel it, but at the same time as Mia heard this, she crashed headfirst into Bai. Opening the door, Bai warned Mia for the second time to wait in the corridor and under no circumstance should she enter. And although she was scared, she reluctantly agreed. As Bai entered the room, the system immediately notified him. The system asked Bai to confirm his entry into the Dungeon of Instance, the cooling incinerator. There was also a recommended level ranging from 5 to 10. So with a confident smile, Bai's response was a yes. Upon confirmation, the system then notified Bai that a successful clearance of the instance dungeon will make the dungeon exist permanently. But if it isn't cleared within 2 days, it will permanently disappear. Seeing this, Bai realized that this was the reason why he'd never heard of this dungeon before in his previous life. Suddenly, the corpses there began to move. Seeing this, Bai readied himself, activating his bone claw skill. Immediately after, the dead bodies suddenly woke up, with one even crawling on the ceiling. It seems that the corpses had mutate, making them stronger and more agile.